Hello, Outdoor Adventures. This is Mr. Amelie coming at you from my home property, actually, and I'm going to do one of several field walks demos for you right now. Why do we learn plants? Because there's a lot of ecology to be learned by understanding their life cycles and their unique adaptations in terms of how they survive. It also can give you confidence in the outdoors. A lot of them are edible. Most of the ones that we're going to learn are edible. The one that we are going to identify right now is called goldenrod, and here it is. It's all over at the end of my driveway. I'll show you a little scan here. You can see that this plant is very pretty yellow. It it will bloom around this time of the year in late August, early September, and it's very, very noticeable. So people often confuse it for what's causing their fall allergies, which is really ragweed. Most people are not allergic to the pollen of goldenrod because it's so noticeable, though people will figure that's what's making them miserable. The pollen's actually too heavy to be dispersed much by the wind. It's much more insect distributed, and ragweed is more wind distributed, so it gets up your nose. Lots of cool things about goldenrod. First of all, it is edible as a tea. You would steep it in hot water, and then you would drink the water. And it does have some medicinal uses, some homeopathic remedies. It's a diuretic. It can help you pee if that's your problem. It is an anti-inflammatory, so it's good for eczema and for gout and for arthritis. Just breaks down inflammation. And it's got some good vitamin qualities too. One of the interesting things about this plant is that it does form a symbiotic relationship with an insect called a gallfly. Now I'm going to show you a picture of what happens in a second here, but basically there's an insect that with its ovipositor, it's like a sharp little protrusion on its rear end, will inject its eggs into the buds of the goldenrod plant. Once those eggs hatch, the larvae will tunnel their way into the stem of the goldenrod plant, and they'll form a round ball called a gall, G-A-L-L. And then over winter, this little larva, looks like a white maggot, will molt a couple times, and then it will hatch. And birds like woodpeckers and black-capped chickadees have learned to target the biggest of the galls, and they will actually peck out the larva and eat it. And I remember my grandpa using them, the larva, as bait, because it looks a lot like a waxworm if you're into ice fishing. But here's what a gall looks like. I'll show you one right here. You can see it is basically a round ball, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut one open for you. So this guy right here is called a goldenrod gall. I'm going to pause this, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to show you what the larva looks like inside. Normally I would find someone to eat it, because you can, but since we're not together, maybe I'll eat it. So you can see I've cracked this gall open. You can see the inside of it right here, and there's a little tiny waxworm looking thing. It's actually a larva of a gallfly in there, and I will take that out and put it in my hand. Give me a sec. And there it is. You can see in my hand is a little white waxworm, a gallfly larva. And this is symbiosis, but what kind of symbiosis? If you remember from biology, there's mutualism where both benefit. That would be like a bee and a flower, the bee getting some nectar and the flower getting pollination. There's parasitism, like a tick on a dog, where one organism is helped, the tick, the other one is harmed, the dog. And then there's one called commensalism, where one is benefited and the other one really isn't affected one way or the other. Which is it? Seeing how the goldenrod plant actually seems to grow and survive okay, despite the fact that it has this critter growing in it, I would say it's probably commensalistic. Anyway, these little larvae are cool. They don't freeze out, and so they've been the subject of much study. They produce glycerol and sorbitol, which keeps them from freezing over winter so that they can hatch next spring as a full-grown gallfly adult. So anyway, I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and eat that. A lot of protein in it. And we'll be off to our next one. Hope you are entertained with this video.